Welcome to Michigan's WW1 Centennial News Report for October 2015. Grass Lake Heritage Day, September 12, 2015. I'm your host, Dennis Skupinski. One century ago, on October 3, 1915, the steamer Livonia became the first German merchant vessel to be sunk in the Baltic by a British submarine. On October 5, 1915, a combined Franco-British force of some two large brigades was landed at Saloniki, today called Thessaloniki, at the request of the Greek Prime Minister. The objective was to help the Serbs in their fight against the Bulgarian aggression, but the expedition arrived too late, the Serbs having been beaten before they landed. It was decided to keep the force in place for future operations, even against Greek opposition. The Greek chief of general staff in Athens had told them, "You will be driven into the sea, and you will not have time to even cry for mercy." On October 6, 1915, the Austro-Hungarian Empire and Germany invaded Serbia. On October 9, 1915, Austro-Hungarian forces captured the capital of Serbia, Belgrade. Assisting in their defeat of Serbian forces were German troops under the command of General August von Mackensen. It was not the first time during World War I that Austrian troops had occupied Belgrade. They had captured the city on December 1, 1914, effectively accomplishing what might have been their foremost war-making objective the previous summer, bringing the upstart Serbian to its knees. On October 11, 1915, Bulgarian forces invade Serbia. On October 12, 1915, British nurse Edith Cavell was executed by a firing squad in Belgium. She is celebrated for saving the lives of soldiers from both sides without discrimination and in helping some 200 Allied soldiers escape from German-occupied Belgium during World War I, for which she was arrested. She was subsequently court-martialed, found guilty of treason, and sentenced to death. Despite international pressure for mercy, she was shot by a German firing squad. Her execution received worldwide condemnation and extensive press coverage. This is one of Germany's worst public relation blunders. On October 13, 1915, the Germans launched an airship raid on the east coast of England, causing over 200 casualties. Also on October 13th was the last large-scale attack in the Battle of Loos. On October 16, 1915, the Allied Navy began the naval blockade of the Aegean coast of Bulgaria. On October 19, 1915, Russia and Italy declared war on Bulgaria. England and France had already declared war on Bulgaria a few days earlier. On October 29, 1915, French Premier René Vigeny resigns as a French Premier, and also Minister for War Alexander Millerand. On October 30, 1915, the new French Premier was Astrid Bergère. The Minister of War was now General Joseph Gallieni. On Saturday, September 12, 2015, the village of Grass Lake held its Heritage Day Festival. The village of Grass Lake is located in Jackson County along US 12. It is named for the shallow marshy lake which is just to the north of it. Its population is about 1,200 people. During the Heritage Festival, owner Ben Lataki of Production Realty offered space in his office for a World War I display to celebrate Michigan's World War I Centennial. A wide variety of items were on display, such as World War I German drums that were captured by the Canadian unit on September 2, 1918, 32nd Division tunics, also an officer tunic, U.S. Public Health tunic, and also an Italian Czech Legion tunic and hat. The Czech Legion was made up of Austro-Hungarian prisoners who promised the Italians they would fight for Italy as long as they could get a free Czechoslovakia after the war. Some of the other items on display were a newspaper from Sturgis, Michigan on November 11, 1918, also a summer weight, a U.S. Public Health officer's tunic for an assistant surgeon who served 6 months overseas. There are also two brochures from the Le Pantheon de la Gare, which was the largest painting in the world. It was 45 feet high and 402 feet in circumference. It was displayed in Paris, taken down, and in 1933 it was set up and exhibited in Chicago. The 32nd Division display consists of a 32nd Division tunic and some other items from the Red Arrow Division, which was made up of Michigan and Wisconsin National Guardsmen. One other interesting display is the telecommunication devices displayed. Both of these can send voice and also Morse code over the same line. This is called multiplexing, and it was invented by a Michigan native, Major General George Owen Squire. One of the goals for the World War I Centennial display in Grass Lake was to show people Michigan's involvement in the First World War and also items they've never seen before. Another display was by Scott Shattuck of Mason. He displayed some more unique World War I items, such as an 8th Division painted helmet, a camouflaged helmet, a musket that's been engraved, a 32nd Division gas mask, a World War I tunic with the discharge stripe, that's the red stripe on the left shoulder, also a 77th Division painted helmet, and an 8th Division tunic with patch on the left sleeve. Besides World War I Centennial items, they had a number of other items on display in the Heritage Day Festival in Grass Lake, such as automobiles and this Ontario Motor League car, which was built in Ontario. The village of Grass Lake closed down Michigan Avenue in downtown Grass Lake so displays could be set up along the street. This way people could walk down and see the automobiles, the farm equipment, and other displays that children could participate in. On September 12th, Heritage Day in Grass Lake, you never knew who you would see. The President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, a World War I U.S. infantry soldier, or soldiers of the Russian Legion in France. As you can see from these photos, various periods were represented and also various units from the U.S. and abroad. The 40 and 8 Honor Organization was originally formed by the American Legion, which consisted of American veterans of World War I. In the 1960s, it became an independent organization. Its goals are charitable and patriotic. It's an invitation-only organization of American veterans. During the Grass Lake Heritage Day Festival, history buffs and regular people had a chance to see World War I Centennial displays and also displays from various periods and various organizations. So you could ask questions, you could talk, and you could find out more information on subjects that interested you. Perhaps the most interesting was the Russian Legion. These were Russian soldiers who were sent to France and fought on the Western Front, along with French and American and British soldiers. The Russian Expeditionary Force in France, or the Russian Legion, wore Russian uniforms but was equipped with French equipment. In 1915, the French requested Russian assistance on the Western Front. In April of 1916, the Russian Legion arrived. Some of the individual equipment and uniforms worn by the Russian soldiers are displayed here, along with the crew-served Maxim machine gun and the light French Chauchat machine gun.
Первая шеренга с колена, вторая стоя. Готовь! Целься! Первая шеренга. Огонь! Вторая шеренга. Огонь! Первая шеренга. Огонь! Вторая шеренга. Огонь! Первая шеренга. Огонь! Вторая шеренга. Огонь! Отставить. Встать. Огонь! Первая шеренга. Огонь! Вторая шеренга. Огонь! Первая шеренга. Огонь! Вторая шеренга. Огонь! Отставить. Встать.
The French and Indian Wars encampment was set up by the Massachusetts provincials. They demonstrated hatchet throwing and other items. They also had a fur trader tent set up to show you what fur trading was like back during this time. The Pennsylvania militia set up a Revolutionary War encampment also. It's been over 50 years since the United States first got involved in the Vietnam conflict in Southeast Asia. Veteran organizations and collectors set up various displays throughout Grass Lake. This display features a North Vietnamese helmet along with a rocket-propelled grenade launcher and a rifle. This display is of a U.S. Army Jeep with an M60 machine gun on top and an M16 in the back seat. This photo shows Scott Gurich on the left in blue along with a couple of Vietnam veterans discussing what life was like during the Vietnam conflict. This photo shows a display of a U.S. Marine Corps light truck, also a couple Jeeps that were used in Vietnam with a sea ration display in front, and finally we see a Vietnam Jeep along with a supply trailer. During the Heritage Day Festival, for what life was like in the early 20th century, especially with the brick outhouse and museum open, and the chamber pot entrance. The chamber pot would have to be emptied once a day by either a servant or someone in the household. It's only been 100 years, but we sure came a long way.
All the things you plan to do, I am sure they will come true, and I'll walk and wait for you over here. Au revoir, but not goodbye, soldier boy. Brush the teardrops from your eyes, soldier boy. When you're on the deep blue sea, will you sometimes think of me? I'll be waiting.